7, and this is question 2, part 2. And what we said is that if you read this blue formula, Gn equals 2Gn minus 1 plus Gn minus 2, it's the same thing as saying that G3 is 2 times G2 plus G1. G4 is the same thing as 2G2 plus 2G3 plus G2. And finally, G5 is 2G4 plus G3. So let's investigate that now. Lads, who got G3 is 2 times 3 plus 1, which makes that 7. In turn, that will make G4. So what's going to be? It's going to be 2 times G3, which is 2 times 7, and plus 3, which is, and finally G5 is going to be 2 times 17 plus 7 is, and you can see that these are reasonably handy. Right. All right. So this formula is a fancy way of saying, for argument's sake, if n was 10, we're basically saying that T10 is actually the same thing as 3 times T9 minus T8. So what we're currently looking for is T3. So T3 would be 3 times T2 minus T1. And T4 would be 3 times T3 minus T2. So let's figure out what T3 is first. So T3 is what, guys? Take away 1. 8. T4 would be 3 times 8, take away 21, right? You happy enough with these? Let's skip the go. Part 2, we'll have a go for it. Okay, now in 5 part 2, so that's 5 part 1 done, right, in red. Now I'm going to do 5 part 2. And what 5 part 2 is telling me is that, see the way that's n plus 1, and that's n. So it's basically telling me that T10, for argument's sake, where n plus 1 equals 10, this would imply that n would equal, so it would equal T9 take away. So therefore, T2 would be, what T2 would be? T1 take away 2. T3 would be, yeah, it's actually an easier question. T4 is T3 take away 2, and T5 would be, oh, I only have to get up to T4, don't I? Yes. No, T2 is 3, look. I'm on part, that's part 1, not part 2. No, 3 times whatever T2 is. I had it on the board a few minutes ago. Look, I had it all written on the right hand side just before I made it disappear here. Look, I went through them all. Give me a sec. See the way I had T3 is 3 times T2 take away T1. So 3 times whatever T2 is take away T1. And T2 is clearly 3. That's where I get 3 times 3 take away 1. Because T1 is 1. All right. Now, here we go. Ready for this, guys? T2. What's T2 the same as? T1. So that's 5 take away 2, which is 3. What's T3 the same as then? 3 minus 2 is 1. And finally, T4. 1 minus 2, which is minus 1. All right, we all good? Okay. All right. So we said this question is that we want to find out the first 5 terms. So I'm going to have to find out what G5 is eventually. If I replace n with 4, because 4 plus 1 is 5, that would be G5 is the same thing as G4 take away 2 squared. I now know what G5 is. If I'm looking for G4, it's going to be what? The n value will be 3, because 3 plus 1 is 4. And that will be G3 minus 2 squared. And you can do the same thing for G2 and G3. Now it's just a matter of going through your calculations. First five terms. So G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. Okay, let's figure out what G2 is. No, G1, yeah, it's 2 take away 2 squared. So G2 is, okay, G3. because G2 is 0. So 0 take away 2, which is 4. G4, because it's going to be, what am I on G4, am I? So it's going to be 4 minus 2 squared, which is 4. I think we're stuck in an infinite loop now. G5 is, everybody happy with our series then? What's it? 2, 0, 4, 4.